You trying the code at your end? I'll wait for a minute. Perfect. Are you going through the code? ठीक. If it is done, just post done into the chat box. Shall we go ahead? Done? All right. Right. All right. Done. So I will go ahead with one more topic, which is called as nested. So let me go ahead. Guys, please understand typecasting क्यों करना पड़ा. Okay. First of all, आपके पास प्रिंटर इंटरफेस था, उसके अंदर एक ही मेथड है प्रिंट. करेक्ट. नेक्स्ट, आपके पास नेटवर्क प्रिंटर है, उसके अंदर आपने प्रिंट मेथड का डेफिनेशन लिखा है एंड उसके अंदर M1 लिखा है. करेक्ट. अब आप मुझे बताइए, व्हेन आई एम सेइंग प्रिंटर P इज इक्वल टू न्यू नेटवर्क प्रिंटर. करेक्ट. At this moment, in this scenario, first of all, if I'm saying p dot print, अब आप मुझे बताइए, as far as your previous knowledge is concerned, everyone, p is pointing to network printer, means p का reference is actually pointing to the network printer, right? Now, when I have given a call to p dot print method, correct? So it will search for, when I'm saying P is a reference for which class, for which interface? Printer interface. Since it is having a reference, P dot print, so first it will see P is a reference of printer interface. Do I have a print method over here? Yes, I do have it. So will it execute this? Because I do not have a definition of its own, so it will go to its print definition. Have you understood? Everyone? Right. Next point. At this moment, if I'm saying P dot M1, at this moment, if I'm saying P dot M1, P किसका reference है? Interface का reference है. If it is an interface reference, it will first go to, whenever there is a function call, it will first go to this printer. Do I have M1 reference over here? No. Have I told this to go to the network printer? No. मैंने बोला ही नहीं है तो वो execute कैसे करेगा? आया समझ में? इसलिए I have to explicitly tell कि network printer and then p.m1. इससे क्या होगा? पहला आपका reference, it will first go to your M1, it will go to the printer, but it will see, now you're pointing to network printer type, let me search M1 from here and let me execute it. Is it now okay? बिकॉज वो नॉन ओवररिडन मेथड है, इसलिए आपने उसे टाइपकास्टिंग किया है. उसे कैसे पता चलेगा कि मुझे नेटवर्क प्रिंटर में जाना है? राइट. बिकॉज इट्स अ नॉन ओवररिडन मेथड. प्रिंट वाज ओवररिडन तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली कॉल हो रहा था. ठीक. इज इट फाइन नाउ? आई होप देयर इज नो कंफ्यूजन. Perfect. Let us go ahead. One more topic, which is called as nested class. That I'll cover first. First, let us go ahead to the interface. So when you talk about interface, it's just a blueprint or a template It is much similar to Java class, but here it has abstract methods and static constants. Interface provides what a class should do, not how it should do. Means I'll just have a declaration part. It is also having capabilities to perform the function. In interface, we always say it is again is a kind of relationship because हम inheritance ही करते हैं. In interface, we can extend multiple interfaces, right? We have seen interface versus class. Someone was asking me. It's there in the slides. All the methods in the interface should be declared as abstract, but it is not the case in class. Interface does not contain any constructor, but a class can. Now, do you know, can you elaborate on this? हम constructor क्यों नहीं specify कर सकते हैं? Constructor क्यों नहीं specify कर सकते हैं? ओके अब आप मुझे बताइए अगर हम कंस्ट्रक्टर बनाते हैं कंस्ट्रक्टर क्रिएट क्योंकि ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बनाते हैं दैट इज वन रीजन अनदर इज जो फील्ड्स रहती है वो स्टैटिक इनिशियलाइज रहती है तो क्या वो कंस्ट्रक्टर के थ्रू होती है नो सो देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्टर ओके इज इट फाइन perfect interface cannot be extended interface can implement another interface right so this is what we have seen in the example. So how do you define an interface? You have to write an interface keyword. That's how you can define. What the interface consists of, some fields, some abstract methods, static methods, default methods, and another interface. I've given this as a generalized example. We have seen printer example properly. So here I've given one more example of printer. Now here is a most important slide, which is normally asked. I'll copy this. And most commonly, the questions are asked from here. This is just mistake, image one. Here's the word inheritance everywhere. Okay. All right. Now, everywhere there's an inheritance word, which just went off. Okay. I'll put it. All right. Now, this is the difference between interface versus class. Now, if you can observe in this scenario, let us consider there are three interfaces, which is I1, I2, and I3. And let us consider there are three different classes, C1, C2, and C3. So wherever I'm using the letter I, it means it is representing interface. Wherever I'm using the letter C, it means it is class. Now, please understand, there are different variations which I have mentioned into this table. I am just trying to explain you when to extend, when to implement, and what are the correct declarations and correct syntaxes. So the first syntax says interface 1 or interface 2 implements I1. This is not okay. Because whenever you are saying implements word, it means you are going to implement the function. तो क्या आप इंटरफेस के अंदर implementation करते हो क्या? No. So one interface do not implement another interface and that is not okay. Is the first scenario clear? Second, one interface extends another interface. उसे हम बोलते हैं interface inheritance. Means if you have one super interface and sub interface, you always go for extension. Third scenario, one interface extends I1 and I2. It is multiple interface inheritance. So one interface can extend multiple interfaces. Again, interface extends class. It is not okay. Interface implements class. Again, not okay. Class extends interface. It is also not okay. Class implements interface. Absolutely okay. Class implements first interface, second interface, third interface. It is absolutely okay. Class implements another class. It is not correct. Class extends another class. Answer is yes. Class extends multiple classes. Answer is no. Class can implement interface, then extend C1. This is also not okay. Class extends another class, implements the interface. Absolutely okay. Class extends another class, implements one or more interface. Absolutely okay. Did you all understand all the permutation combination, when to use extends and when to use, you can say, implements? Okay. So, did you all understand up to this point? Perfect. All right. Let me take one basic example, day 9 underscore 2. I'll say finish. I'll create new class day 9 underscore 2. Here, let us say I'm creating string str is equal to new string and I'm passing here Sunbeam. Okay. Quickly tell me, at this moment, str, is it one object? I'll say, let's print str. I'll say str. Right. Working fine. Let us execute. It will work fine. There is no doubt. Perfect. Now, next point. Let us say I'm writing scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. I'll just say maybe import java.util and maybe I'll say str, or maybe I'll just declare one num variable sc.nextInt, and maybe I would like to print num plus num. In this scenario, when you execute, it is going to accept some num 20 and I'm getting the data as 20. This everyone knows, correct? But at this moment, can I say str is one object? Is it using some resource like your input stream or a keyboard or something? No. But when you are saying I'm using scanner SC is also one object. Is it using some, you can say, resource? Yes, because आपने system.in लिखा है. It is a standard input stream, which is keyboard. Correct? So, everyone, can you see there is a warning which says that SC is never closed? Can you see this? Right. It is a warning. Correct? Warning means you can just ignore that. But suppose I'm writing sc.close. Can you see when I've written sc.close, my warning have gone? Yes or no? Perfect. Now, let us understand. Everyone, quickly tell me, क्या मैं str.close मेथड को कॉल कर सकती हूँ क्या? नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि str के पास close मेथड है ही नहीं. Are you okay? Perfect. Now listen carefully. Close method is called upon which object? SC. SC belongs to which class? Scanner. Let's go to scanner class. Scanner class belongs to which package? Java.util. Guys, it's Java.util. Java.util, right? Next, let us say, in this case, I'll go to scanner class. Somewhere in this SC. Okay, just check methods. Correct? Can you see the first method? Close. Can you see the first method? Close. All right. Now in this scenario, when I'm saying the first method close, I'll open this. Check it out. Closes the scanner. If the scanner has not been closed, then underlying readable also implements closable interface. Can you also see specified by? This method is specified by close in the interface closable. I'll go to closable. Quickly tell me, what is closable? It's an interface. Can you see its method? Is it the method which is declared in the interface closable? Closes the stream, releases any resources associated with it. Do you understand? Yes or no? So can you please, or by observing this, can you please conclude and tell me actually close method कहाँ से belong करता है? Scanner class से कि closable interface से? It belongs to interface closable. So can you please observe scanner class के आगे class scanner extends object implements closable क्यों लिखा हुआ है? अब समझ में आया? Is this more clear now? Perfect. Good. Again, if I want to release the resource, why it is giving me warning? Why it is not giving me error? Let's understand that. Check this out. Can you please tell me interface closable is having its a super interface as which interface? It is auto closable. Let's read it. A closable is a source or a destination of data that can be closed. The close method is invoked to release the resources that object is holding, such as opening file, scanner class, and so on. Next, please see, I have a close method. Void close. Just forget about throws, don't worry. Let's read it. Closes the stream, release the system resource associated with it. जो scanner class है वो system related है तो उसे close करता है. As noted in auto closable dot close, invoke means call. As noted in auto closable dot close means auto closable dot close me. Let us check. Do I have a close method here also? Yes. Now please check. It says closes the resources. This method is invoked automatically on the objects. That's true. It means अगर आपने खुद से close method को call नहीं किया तो auto closable close method को call करता है और आपके resource को close करता है. Check this. Note that the close method of closable, this is not required to be idempotent. In other words, calling the close method more than once may have some side effects too. So it means if you are writing sc.close, तो scanner class closable में जाएगा, resource को release करेगा. अगर आपने उसे close नहीं किया तो वो auto closable में जाएगा और आपके resource को release करेगा. Can I say closable is having super interface as auto closable? Yes, it is mentioned. तो आप मुझे बताइए interface closable extends auto closable होगा कि interface closable implements auto closable रहेगा? It is extends. Very nice. Are you now able to understand this much part? Is it okay? कुछ समझ में आया everyone? तो ये जितने भी सारे क्लासेस बोल रहे हो इन सारे क्लासेस के अंदर क्लोज मेथड रहेगा. चेक दिस आउट. java.lang में आपने string class देखा, right? java.lang. Just check string class. I've given you the example right now. Is my string class is implementing the closable interface? No. तो फिर यहाँ पे क्लोज मेथड होगा क्या? नहीं होगा. कुछ समझ में आया? जो क्लास जिस इंटरफेस को इंप्लीमेंट कर रहा है उसके सारे मेथड्स उस क्लास के फंक्शन डेफिनेशन में रहते हैं, तो स्ट्रिंग क्लास के पास क्लोज मेथड नहीं रहेगा. Check this out. java.io. There's a file reader. Right? Can you see file reader? Right. उसके implemented interface दिख रहे हैं, closable and auto closable. Right. So can I say file reader के पास 100% close method रहेगा? Check this out, method. And you can see close. Is it okay? कुछ समझ में आया? Whether it is inherited or not, direct method, but it is there. All good up to this point. Right? तो ये hierarchy समझ में आई सबको? Right. So we have seen interface inheritance. We have seen abstract class in the last lecture. I've given you the meaning of interface, created the interface. I've given the first and second interface, auto closable and closable, which are most commonly used. Next, for time being, all these interfaces, clonable, comparable, comparator, iterable, iterator, and serializable, these next 6 interfaces I'll not cover now. The reason is, until and unless you do not understand the concept of collection, you will not understand these interfaces. So at the point of collection, I'll gradually cover all these interfaces together. Right now, I've just given you the introduction about interfaces. I've covered creation of interfaces, user-defined interface क्या है और predefined interface क्या है. Closable and auto-closable हमने already अभी देखा. These will be explained at the time of collection. Though I'm keeping the data, maybe clonable का, serializable का, marker interface, comparable interface, comparator, iterator and iterable. ये सारा slides मैंने एक ही जगह पे रखा है, but generally we do cover them at the time of, you can say, collection. Is it okay? Perfect. Good. So I'll close this interface slide. That yesterday there was one more topic which was remaining, something called as nested classes. Correct? I'll explain that. So as I am concluding the interface, except few interfaces that you will not understand now. At the time of collection, we will see. And right now, I'm explaining outer and inner class. I'll create a new project. Alright. Now, let us assume in my day9_3, I'm creating one class outer. Quickly tell me, for this particular program, dot class files kitni बनने वाली है? How many dot class files will be there? There will be 2 dot class files. The one who is saying 1, please revise day 2 lecture, right? So यहाँ पे outer dot class बनेगी and day9_3 file बनेगी. कौन से folder में बनेगी? In which folder it will create? Bin folder. So I'll just check day9_3 bin. Is it a dot class file? Day9_3 and outer? Correct. Next point. Let us say I'm writing here line number 3. Quickly tell me what is line number 3. What is line number 3? It is outer class parameterless constructor. Perfect. Next. Can I say this is the scope of outer class? यहाँ तक खत्म हो रहा है? Perfect. Let us try. Let us observe. I'm defining class inner. Right? And here I'm specifying the constructor of inner class. I'll just write inner class constructor. All right. In this scenario, how many dot class files will be generated? There are 3 classes, so there will be 3 dot class files will be generated. Right? Next. So, all right. So, in this scenario, whenever you are talking about first class, तो dot class file बन रही है outer dot class. Next, जब आपने inner बनाया तो dot class file बन रही है outer dollar inner dot class. I'll show you. And here day9_3 dot class. So please understand, in this scenario, I'll go to bin folder. Can you see how the dot class file is generated? The name given to the dot class file for the inner class is outer dollar inner. Are we okay, everyone? Perfect. Next point. Next point. Now the question is, how do we create object of outer class and the inner class? Everyone knows how to create the object of outer class. So I'll just create outer out is equal to new outer. But if I want to create object of the inner class, then as we know, inner class is defined within the body of the outer class. So you have to write outer dot inner, and I'll write in is equal to out dot new inner. You have to follow some specific syntax whenever you're working with outer and inner classes. First of all, it will give a call to the outer class parameterless constructor, and then it is going to give a call to inner class parameterless constructor. So you have to remember this syntax. Or another solution. Another way is you can write outer dot inner. I'll give the object name in is equal to new outer dot new inner. This is another way. Can you see this? New outer will create an anonymous object. New inner will call an anonymous object. So in this case, you can go either line number 23 and 24, or you can go for this particular line. Did you all understand up to this point? Everyone? Fields अगर आपको outer class के access करने हैं, आप out dot something कर सकते हो. Inner class के access करने हैं, आप in dot something लिख सकते हो. The rest, everything, the accession of data will be remaining same. Have you all understood up to this point? Everyone. Good. So you have to remember the inner class dot class file creation concept. It is always having outer class dollar inner class. Are we okay? Perfect. Good. So let us talk about another concept which is called as generics. I'll give you introduction and then we will write the programs after break. Okay. So as far as your outer and inner class is concerned, the things are mentioned into the last lecture slides. I've already shared with it. So in this case, let us proceed ahead to the next part, which is called as generics, right? We have seen boxing, we have seen unboxing, we have seen already a wrapper class. Let's talk about generics now, right? In case of C++, have you ever heard about the terminology called as a template? Right, perfect. So in general, what is template? Why do you go for a template? Why do you go for a template? It is basically you are trying to have some generalized scenario, generic programs. Correct. For example, you make a PowerPoint slides, right? When you make PowerPoint slides, you create one first page and then you carry forward the same skeleton for the next pages. Do you all agree? Or the first slide and carry forward to all. So what does it mean? It means that whenever you are working with the slides, you design one template and that is carry forward ahead. Why you have designed a template? It is because you want something to be kept common and you want to reuse it again and again. That's why we go for generics. Now, next point. In case of, you can say, I'll write one void swap function. I'm just giving one example. And suppose I have two numbers to swap. So I'll say A is 20, B is 5. How do you write? In this case, I'm passing swap A comma B. How do you write this swap logic? Maybe you need some variable n1, you need some variable n2, and you will write a definition part. How will be the definition? Integer temp, maybe temp is equal to n1, n1 is equal to n2, and finally n1 is equal to Do you agree, everyone? Right. Now, in this case, whenever you are trying to perform the, you can say n2 is equal to 10. Somewhere I've done any mistake, right? Yeah, n2. Okay. So this is a logic that you normally go for whenever you are going for swap. On the similar lines, if I'm saying I have A is equal to 3.5, B is equal to 2.5, and now I'm saying swap A comma B. Here in this case, what will be the change? The function definition part is not going to change except the one thing which is nothing but the data type. So here, what can be the change? Here I'll specify float, maybe n1, float, maybe n2, and here I'll pass float, right? Again, if I say I'm passing int and you can say float, will I have to write the same swap function? Correct. Right? So it means structure or the logic part. If you try to see over here, this much logic part is exactly the same. But what is changing? Only the data type. For in future, again I'm saying I'm giving a call to the swap function, maybe 5.5 and 8. Do I have a function swap having two parameters, float and int now? No, I do not have it. So do I have to write one more function? Of course, yes. That means, can I say I'm repeatedly performing the same job again and again? Yes. And if I do not want that, then I'll go for generics. Did you all get what do you mean by generics, everyone? Perfect. Now, so here, how I will write generics. So generics is basically written in angular brackets, where angular brackets are called as type parameters. So अगर मैं angular bracket, if I'm using angular bracket with the class name, then I'll say it is a generic class. If I'm using these angular brackets with a function name, then I'll say I'm using a generic function. So either you can write a function as a generic or you can write a class as generic. Based on the requirement, you go for generalization, or you can, not the generalization, it is just generics. So let us read it. If we want to write a generic code, we can use java.lang.object class, or we use the concept of generic. So I'll help you out to understand what is generic. Before that, here there are why we go for generics, because it will give you to stronger type checking at compile time. There is no need of explicit typecasting again and again. Now in future, once I complete this generic and exception handling, I will give you one topic which is called as collection. अब collection में एक array list नाम का collection है. I'm just taking one example. एक class है array list का, which is basically used to create list of elements in the array format. Correct? Now, Java have given us this ArrayList class as a predefined class. It's a predefined class. Now, today in my application, I want to create ArrayList of type string. Is it okay? Java allows us. Tomorrow, I'm saying, no, I do not need ArrayList of string. I need an ArrayList of integers. Next time, someone will say, no, I do not need ArrayList of integer. I need an ArrayList of float. Someone will say, no, I need an array list of employee class. I need an array list of student class, car class, etc. Means if Java ने अगर string, integer, float, employee, student इन सब के लिए अलग-अलग क्लास, अलग-अलग टाइप का array list class बनाया भी रहता था, तो खुद ही confusion हो जाता था. Do you all agree? Because you never know what type of array list the user is going to make. So what the Java have given? Java have created this array list class as a generic class. Have you understood up to this point? Right. Next point. Do you remember there's a string class? अब आप सबको पता है कि string class कहा तो it is nothing but set of characters. Next, when I'm saying integer class, अब आपको सबको पता है कि when we talk about integer class, I'm talking about numbers. When I'm saying scanner class, we know it is used for scanning the data. It means, can you please conclude from here? Is it required to make string integer scanner class as a generic class now? No, there is no requirement. So please observe. If you can see java.lang, integer class, it's simple class, math class, a simple class, string class, a simple class, system class, no generics. But I was talking about array list, right? For array list, let me go to java.util. I'll go to collection and somewhere you will find array list here. Are you able to see class array list के आगे angular bracket दिया गया है? कुछ समझ में आया? It means I'll say it is a generic class because E can vary. E can be of type integer, E can be of type float, E can be of type you can say double, E can be of type student and so on. Are you okay? Have you understood? So can you imagine how beautifully your Java is designed, that some classes are created as generic, some are created as non-generic, and there is a reason behind it. And that's what the reason that I've said, right? So let us check. If you see here, we have said ArrayList was a generic class. So collection may, when we will see more of collections, can you say list, a generic interface. ArrayList, generic class. Maybe I'll go to vector, it's a generic class. Maybe I'll go to stack, it is a generic class. Maybe I'll go to linked list, it's a generic class. So जो भी class के आगे angular bracket दिया गया है, it means it is a generic class. Did you all get up to this point? Perfect. So angular bracket में, if E is passed, it is called as element type. If T is passed, it is called as a type parameter. If N is passed, it means a number. If K is passed, it is key. If V is passed, it is value. And if two parameters are passed, then it is second type parameters. These are generic names which are used in most commonly APIs. कुछ standard format दिया गया है कि E आया तो element, N means number, T means type. You can give any type parameter, it will work fine, but these are the, you can say, conventions that are to be followed. Did you all get, everyone, up to this point? Yes or no? We will see key and value. If you can observe, यहाँ पे E दिख रहा है, linked list E, right? इसके methods में element E, yes दिख रहा है. अब somewhere in dictionary, can you see K, V? It maintains in the background key and the value pair. Gradually you will understand. पर जब तक आपको generic क्या है नहीं पता चलेगा, तब तक मैं आपको collection topic ले ही नहीं सकती. That's the reason first I'm taking generics, then exception handling, and then collection. That's how the flow is. Have you understood up to this point? So I'll just stop here. So assuming everyone is back, and let us continue with the, you can say, the topic which is called as generics, correct? So when you talk about generics, we have seen there is something called as a type parameter, right? So let us try to create one generic class, and then we can go ahead with the generic methods, right? So let us assume I'm writing this class. Maybe I'm saying test and I'm passing T as a type parameter. It is completely based on you whether you would like to go for a class parameter having one generic parameter, two parameters, and so on. I'll take the example of both, but yes, for this example, my class, I'll just write here, class test is generic class. How did you recognize? You have recognized by seeing it is having a type parameter, which is nothing but the T, correct? Now, in this case, suppose I'm writing TOBG. Till this point, you have created multiple number of fields within the class. But now, when I say I've created a field OBJ, can you tell me what is its data type? Its data type I have specified as a T. So I will say this is also a generic field. So if you write angular bracket में t in front of the class, it is a generic class. And if you write any field with the type parameter t, you will say it is a generic field. Right? Next point. I'm just writing test. Can you quickly tell me what is line number 7? It is constructor. I am specifying one parameterized constructor. I'm saying this dot obj is equal to obj. So it is going to initialize your data. Correct? Next point. Let us say I'm writing void display. And I'm saying system.out.println. Just I'm printing this object. All right. At this moment, if I'm taking generic type parameter, the most important point that you have to remember, generics works only with non-primitive type. This you have to remember. So, can you name some non-primitive classes that you have heard about? Integer, float, double, character, string, boolean, whatever number of wrapper classes that you have heard about, they all comes under non-primitive, and that's why generics में हमेशा हम as a reference वही classes use करते हैं. We can never say I'm passing small int, float का f small, double का d small, and so on. It will give error. Correct? Now, because generics are always in the form of references. They take references, and reference की जब आप बात करते हो, so you cannot go ahead with a value type. You have to go for reference type. Now, this is a language feature. Let us assume I'm writing test t is equal to new test. At this moment, whenever we are trying to create a test T object, please tell me constructor will be called, correct? Constructor is expecting some value. Maybe I'm saying 15. One value is passed. But have I mentioned to my compiler any type parameter while passing this 15? No. Then I'll say it is called as a raw type. It is giving you warning. It's not giving any error, but it is giving warning. So observe, it's giving me a warning which says that test is a raw type. Raw type means at this moment, you have not specified what exactly the value that you are passing. It is not at all a good practice. If your class is expecting generics, you should specify the type. Now, let us say I'm writing t.display. Let's execute. Can you see I'm getting this dot object? Perfectly fine. Perfect. Next line. Let us assume now I'm writing test. Maybe here I'll use T1. So it will be easy. Let us say I'm creating test T2 is equal to new test. At this moment, I am passing here inside the bracket, angular bracket called as integer, and I'm saying 55. Can you see the warning has gone? It's not giving me the warning as a raw type. So here I'll say T1.display. Sorry, T2.display. I'll save it. Is it giving me 55 as a value? Yes. But what is the difference between line 24 and line 27? Line number 24 is considering your class as a raw type. What do you mean by a raw type? It means that your class was expecting some type parameter. You have not specified any type parameter to it. But on line number 27, you have said my test class is now taking integer as a reference. So have I passed the integer value? Yes. Is it working fine? Yes. Now let's understand. The type parameter is considered as integer. So wherever in your program you're using t, it will be replaced with integer. So here this will be integer, this will be integer object, this will be integer object, and this is nothing but your current object. Have you understood up to this point? Correct. Next point. Let us say I'm writing test integer t3 is equal to new test. I'm passing my object is also of type integer, but here I'm passing 8.5. Now please understand. Can you see I'm getting error? Right. It is saying the constructor test integer double is not defined. What does it mean? I am specifying to the compiler, I'm going to use a type parameter of type integer, but what value I have passed? Double. Am I contradicting onto the same statement? Yes. So what's the solution? You can go for here, create a double. Have you now understood how does this work? जब मैं integer value pass कर रही हूँ, it is working with integer value. जब मैं double value pass कर रही हूँ, it is working with double value. Let's try with string. I'm saying test. I'll pass a type parameter as string. Maybe t4 is equal to new test. And again, I'll say string. And inside the bracket, I'm going to pass some string. I'll say t4.display. Let's execute. Did you all get, everyone, how we can create a class as a generic class and how I'm trying to reutilize this field as a generic field? Is it okay? Perfect. Good. Shall I proceed? I'll take one more example. Quickly look into the code. If you have any doubts, please do ask. The code is in front of you on the browser. Please check. Meanwhile, I'll create a new project. Is it done? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? All right. Next, let us say I'll create a class test, maybe T. I'll go for similar example where I'll have a constructor where I'm just trying to set some object. Again, I'm saying, can I use T only? No. It is just a convention that you can follow. You can pass N, you can pass V, you can pass C, you can pass D, any data, any alphabet that you can pass. But most conventions that are used is type parameter T. Okay? So I'll say this dot obj is equal to obj. So can I say here, this is generic class, this is generic field, and this is a constructor taking generic as parameter. Do you all agree? Perfect. One more time, one more function that I'll specify. I want to declare this field as private. So I hope you remember, whenever we go for private fields, what we specify for that particular field to perform getting of a data and setting of the data, we go for getters and setters. So I'll say getters and setters generate. Everyone, please understand, in this scenario, we have written a get obj function. The get obj function is having what as a return type? It's a getter. It is going to return me current object. But what is it return type? It's T. Means can I say here function is having return value as it's a type parameter? That's true. Next, please observe here a function is having its argument as type parameter. Have you all understood up to this point? Perfect. So let us give it a call. I'm creating a test class T1. I'm passing some string. And I'm saying is equal to new. I'm sorry. I am using a test class as a generic. So class के आगे लिखना जरूरी है. The syntax should be followed correctly. I'm using string. So I'll say T1. Maybe I'll pass some data like this. So I'll just say T1 dot get obj. System.out.println. We are trying to get the contents within this. Am I getting the current object value? Yes. ये set कैसे हुआ? क्योंकि in constructor में लिखा था. Now I want to modify this. So I'll say T1 dot set object value. Maybe I'll just put it in capital letters. And again, I'll just try to print. Are you okay? Did you all get up to this point? All right. Any questions so far? Otherwise, we'll proceed. Right. Shall we go ahead? Okay, I'll wait for a minute. Please observe. If it is done, just post it into the chat box. Or any queries there, please ask. All right. So let us go ahead. Done. Right. In the main function in the previous scenario, first line will give a call to the constructor. So it will set obj value as sunbeam in small letters. I've said t1.get object. So t1.get object, so going to return me current object. So that is nothing but the sunbeam. t1.set object, I'm setting a new value for this object, which is capital sunbeam. So I'm just saying t1.get object, I'm getting capital letter. Sequence I'm following. All right. When you say I have initialized it, let me just go ahead with one more object. Let us say I'm assigning t1 with some string and t2 is equal to new test, and I'm again passing string. Here I'm passing Akshita. Let us assume initially I'm saying t2 dot set object. Initially your t2 object के obj के अंदर value है Akshita, but later on I'm just saying I'm putting this as a trainer. And now if I say t2 dot get object, can you please tell me what will be the output for line number 34? Is it okay? Guys, कंस्ट्रक्टर के थ्रू आपने इनिशियलाइज किया, फिर सेटर के थ्रू आपने उसे चेंज किया है. It is similar to your classes and object concept. Understood. Perfect. Shall I proceed? ठीक है. Let us then go ahead. Next point. All right. I'll do one thing. I want to write a main, and from this main, I want to give a call to display function. But this display function must take some value, maybe 1, 2, 3. This display function must print 9.5. This display function must display some data in string format. Everyone, quickly observe and tell me, if I'm giving 3 function calls, I need 3 function definitions. One display function who can take integer value, another display function who can take float value, another display function who can take, you can say, a string data, right? Now, if this is what is a scenario, then can I say unnecessarily I have to write 3 different functions? So, if you see the error, it's saying method display int is undefined, method display float double is undefined, method display string is undefined. Now, I want to avoid this error. So it was giving me fun quick fixes, create a method display having an integer parameter, or create a display having double, or create a display having string as a parameter. But I know the internal functionality will be system.out.println, and I just want to print the value, maybe the element, whatever I'm passing. This is what is a functionality that I need. So how do I go for? I will declare a display function who can take a element. I hope you remember, whenever you give a call to the function from the main, since main is static, can I say I shall have this as static also? Do you all agree? Perfect. But at this moment, am I aware about this element name? Whether it is int, whether it is float, whether it is string. Can I say it can take different type parameters? Right. So I'll just use t over here. Right? This is the syntax. Next point. If I'm saying my function is taking a t as a type parameter, it's my duty to specify to the compiler I am using a generic method. So when you specify the type parameter t in front of method names, it indicates it is a generic method. Let's execute. कुछ समझ में आया? Is my class is generic in this scenario? No, my class is not generic, right? Is my display function is generic? Yes, it is generic. So when you pass 1, 2, 3, internally, it is considering t as an integer parameter. Everywhere, it is going to be considered as integer. Everywhere, it will be considered as double. Everywhere, this will be considered as string. Wherever there is t. Are we okay? Have you all understood up to this point? Now, please understand why in this scenario I have not written type over here. Let me just write. I'll just say integer. Can you see it's giving error? Yes. ऐसा क्यों? It is because जब आपने क्लास बनाया था। आई रिपीट, ऑब्जर्व केयरफुली। जब आपने क्लास बनाया था तब आपने टाइप पैरामीटर बताया था। हियर जब आपने क्लास का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया था तब आपने टाइप पैरामीटर बताया था। तो टाइप पैरामीटर इज बेसिकली defined at the time of creation of object because internally you're passing the reference. Are you okay? But here, why I have not written integer? Because this conversion is done automatically. So here, 1, 2, 3, for you it's an int, but for compiler it is integer. Int is primitive, integer is non-primitive. It is primitive to non-primitive conversion is called as boxing. Is it done automatically? Yes. तो यहाँ पे ऑटो बॉक्सिंग हो रहा है एक्चुअली। मेथड्स के टाइम पे हम उसे वैल्यू डायरेक्टली सप्लाई करते हैं, इट्स लाइक अ फंक्शन कॉल। बट क्लास के सामने हम रेफरेंस पास कर रहे हैं, तो कौन से टाइप का रेफरेंस है आपको बताना पड़ेगा ना। आर यू गेटिंग? इज इट ओके? अगर आपको लेट अस से यू हैव अ फंक्शन मे बी void subtract integer a and integer b, you write a minus b as a functionality and the job is done. But when you say I'm giving a function called sub, तो क्या आप उसे फिर से बोलते हो क्या integer 40 and integer 25? No, you just pass the values. It automatically represents that value int and second value as int. That's how it is happening over here also. Perfect? Is it okay? 1, 2, 3 is passed to the element. It will see it's a generic type t. Is my method is expecting t parameter? Yes, it will automatically convert this value in the integer. Are we okay? Yes or no? Perfect. Good. In that case, let us write one more example. I'll say day 9_7. We'll go for something called as bounded type parameter. You will understand gradually, but there are three things actually. One is bounded, one is unbounded, and there is something called as question mark, which you will see. So somewhere we use extends, somewhere we use super, somewhere we use question mark. But again, these things, something which is also called as wildcard. So all these things I will again explain in case of collection. But yes, let us put some example on bounded type. I'll create one class, maybe box. I'll say T. Everyone, quickly tell me, is my box class is a generic class or non-generic class? It is a generic. Perfect. How many type parameters it is taking? One type parameter. Perfect. I'll give you example of two type parameters. Just remind me. Okay. So here I'll go for something getters and setters. Private T obj. Right click, source, generate getters and setters. All right. Next point. Suppose I'm using box b1 is equal to new box. In this case, if I just write b1 dot get obj, right? Everyone, when you say box b1 is equal to new box and b1 dot get obj, let us check. Am I getting null? Why I have got null? It is because this, when you have created a reference b1 or the object b1, initially you have not assigned anything. By default, reference is allocated with which value? Null value. That's why current object में वो null store कर रहा है. Right. Can I say this is of raw type? And it is absolutely okay. Perfect. Next, when I say box b2 is equal to new box, and now I'm passing one integer data, and I'm passing integer data. At this moment, in this scenario, I'm saying, is it okay? Yes, it is absolutely okay. If I want to set B2 value, will you please tell me यहाँ पे मुझे क्या वैल्यू पास करनी चाहिए? कोई तो एक इंटीजर वैल्यू पास करनी चाहिए. Do you agree? And if I say system.out.println b2.getObj, it is going to give me the value as 45. Right? Perfect. Will you please tell me at this moment t is considered as which object? Which object? Integer object. Correct? Next point. Let me just copy this and I'll put here double. I'll say B3. Maybe I'll say 85.5. I'll use here B3 and maybe here I'll go for double. I'll say B3.getObj. Correct? Is it okay? Absolutely okay. It is going to give me the same value. Right. Next, if I'm creating one more time, something called as string. I'll say B4 and here I'll say string. I'll say B4.setObject. I'm passing some string field and I'm trying to print B4.getObject. When you execute, it will work fine. Have you all understood up to this point? Yes or no? Correct. At this moment, initially, t is considered as integer. Can you please tell me who is the superclass for integer? Who is the superclass for integer? It is object. Perfect. Next, on line number 30, can you please tell me what is my generic type parameter that I have passed? It is double. When I'm passing double, can you please tell me in this scenario, double class is having who as the superclass? It is again object. Next, when I'm saying on line number 34, what is the line number 34 is giving me? It is again string. String is having which as a superclass? It is having which superclass? It is having object as a superclass. Perfect. Means, can I take a conclusion onto this point? If whenever you are just passing the type parameter t, that type parameter is always going to be having the superclass as object. Are we okay? Right. Have I put a condition anything along with the type parameter? No. अगर मैंने कोई भी कंडीशन नहीं दिया है, जस्ट टाइप पैरामीटर दिया है, तो कैन आई से इट इज टेकिंग एवरीथिंग एज अ इनपुट बिकॉज इन जावा everything is having the supermost class as object. Are we okay? Perfect. Shall I proceed? All right. Next point. Next point. Let us consider. I'll exactly copy this code. Same code. And here, I'm saying box, class box, and I'm saying t, but here I am putting a condition extends number. What I have put a condition? I've said type parameter t extends number. So whenever anything is written in front of t with the help of extends, I have put one condition, and that condition is called as bound. So here, let us observe. Please understand. Into this scenario, line number 24, it's a raw type. It is absolutely okay if you go for a raw type, but it is not recommended normally. Next point. On line number 26, can you please tell me what is integer? It's a wrapper class. Extended from which class? Number class. Number class का supermost class क्या है? Object. So, is type parameter t integer extends number? Is this condition is true? Yes, Is it allowing me for working on B2? Absolutely yes. आया कुछ समझ में? Next, tell me, double. Is my double data type, a double wrapper class extends number? You can check, no worries. If you do not forget, if you do not remember, then observe java.lang. You have a float class extends number, double class extends number, integer class extends number. Number class के इतने सारे direct sub classes है. So can I say here also double extends number? This condition is true. That's why. Did it allow me to go for B3 working? Yes. Next, I have passed B4. Now please observe B4 का type parameter what I have passed. String. Is my string class is extending from the number class? Answer is no. Means can you conclude over here? This condition is false. So it will not allow me to go for B4. So read the error. Bound mismatch. The type string is not valid for the bounded type parameter T extends number. Here it is not okay and I'm getting the error bound mismatch. कुछ समझ में आया? Everyone? So this will not work, this will not work, this will not work. So if you are supplying only the type parameter T, ultimately any class object you can pass. But if you put some condition that this should only extend a number class, this should only extend this, in that case, you can go for bound, putting a bound condition. Okay, now just observe, just listen. Let us observe over here. I'll go to string buffer. Is it a generic or non-generic class? Non-generic. Next, system class. Non-generic. Integer class. Non-generic. Math class. Non-generic. ठीक है? Perfect. Double class. Non-generic. Good. Just observe. Java.util. I'll go to collection. I'll go to array list. Generic or non-generic? It is generic. Have I put some condition over here? No. So can I say array list के अंदर जो E indicates elements वो कोई भी data type के हो सकते हैं, whether it is of string, whether it is of double, maybe float, maybe student, maybe employee, maybe anything. Do you agree? Right. Next, observe hash set. Generic or non-generic? Generic. Again, you have something called as linked list. I'll go to L here. Generic. कुछ समझ में आया? Perfect. Next, date class. Non-generic. Right? Next, if you observe abstract list, it's a generic. Right? So there are many. You can see vector. It is again generic. तो अभी समझ में आया? Generic class stack. Stack कोई भी type के elements को ले सकता है. It's simple generics. I cannot put a condition कि stack में characters नहीं होने चाहिए, stack में string नहीं होना चाहिए. No, that's why there is no bound condition to it. Right? Perfect. Next, all of you, do you remember java.lang and enum class? याद है कुछ? Yes or no? Perfect. Are you able to understand here this much line? Everyone. कुछ समझ में आया? That means enum can be of type any element who can extend enum. It means if you can remember, if you just write here enum, maybe courses, and you say DAG, maybe DBDA, maybe you say DESD or DITISS or DMC. So these are the different courses, correct? So 0, 1, 2, 3, that will be the ordinal value. But behind the scene, what happens? कौन सा constructor call होता है? I hope you remember. कौन सा constructor call होता है? Sole constructor. So sole constructor behind the scene, what it does? It creates a class enum. Do you agree? And it has some values and it has some method values and value of. कुछ याद आया? Do you remember? Very nice. सो एवरीवन, ये कब कन्वर्ट होगा? बैकग्राउंड में इट इज बेसिकली trying to follow this scenario. It is saying here it is class enum. Here E extends enum. E can be your courses now. Is it from the enum class? Yes. Of which type? Of courses type. बैकग्राउंड में आपका enum ऐसे क्रिएट होता है. जब तक आप enum कीवर्ड नहीं लिखते हो, does it create a class enum? No. That's why it has put a condition over here. And at the time of enum, I've explained you. Forget about all these lines. I'll explain at the point of, you can say, at the point of generics. But I hope now you guys are at least able to understand complete statement. Yes or no? अगर आप complete statement समझ सकते हो, तो can you please tell me, enum, is it a public class, private class? Public class. Why it is public? As a quick revision, I'm doing this because it can be accessed outside java.lang, right? Outside java.lang, आप उसको आपके खुद के पैकेज में भी एक्सेस कर रहे हो. Why it is abstract? क्या आप enum के अंदर मेथड्स को डिफाइन करते हो क्या? नहीं, सिर्फ फील्ड्स डिक्लेयर रहती है और दो मेथड्स डिक्लेयर रहते हैं, वैल्यूज ऑफ एन वैल्यू. डू यू रिमेंबर? नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, कैन यू क्विकली टेल मी, enum के अंदर जितने फील्ड्स आप डिक्लेयर करते हो, ऑल दीज फील्ड्स आर डिक्लेयर्ड एज पब्लिक स्टैटिक फाइनल. याद है कुछ? तो डज माय एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लास कंसिस्ट ऑफ public static final fields and the method declarations, and that's why your enum class is declared as abstract. Are we okay? Right. This gets generated only when you are creating your own enum. Do you agree? With the help of enum keyword. Perfect. Is it having the superclass as which class? Object class. Perfect. Can you quickly tell me, एक क्लास के साथ अगर extends एक बार आ गया, दूसरी बार extends यूज कर सकते हैं? No. So what we have seen, implements. How many interfaces it is implementing? 2, out of which comparable is which interface? Generic interface. Serializable, it's not a generic interface. E extends enum because you are going to use enum of your own type. जब तक आप किसी भी क्लास में enum कीवर्ड नहीं यूज करते हो, जब तक आपका सोल कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल नहीं होता है, तब तक आपका ये स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होता है. Is it okay? Have you now understood up to this point? So day 1 पे अगर आप let us talk about integer class. Please check. Class integer. Are you able to understand this complete statement now? Though you are not aware about comparable, serializable, but at least आपको इतना समझ में आ रहा है इसमें से क्लास क्या है, इंटरफेस क्या है, फाइनल क्यों डिक्लेयर किया, पब्लिक क्यों डिक्लेयर किया, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्यों डिक्लेयर किया, इंप्लीमेंट्स क्यों वर्ड यूज किया है, एंगुलर ब्रैकेट्स क्यों दिए, इतना सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Are you gaining little bit confidence? It's day 9 for Java. Perfect. Good. So did you? Shall I proceed then? You can check any class and you can easily identify. Go to java.util. Maybe I'll go to somewhere arrays class. यहाँ पे कोई भी interface implemented नहीं है. Let's check linked list. Are you able to understand this much scenario? Linked list के खुद के methods defined रहेंगे ही. कोई तो मेथड ऐड करना है, कोई तो एलिमेंट ऐड करना है, some method you want to delete, some method you want to add at the end, some method you want to delete from the front, and so on and so forth. In that case, इसे abstract नहीं डिक्लेयर किया है. Okay? Is it okay? Perfect. Shall I go ahead? All right. So did you all get how we can go for putting a bound condition? Sarvesh, as I've mentioned already, यहाँ पे आप int नहीं pass कर सकते. It will give you immediately a JavaC error. Generic type parameters always work with the wrapper classes. That is what is the next use of wrapper class that I've mentioned. Okay, right. बाउंड कंडीशन, अब आप मुझे बताइए, इट्स सिंपल, बाउंड कंडीशन क्यों यूज करना है? कि जो भी मेरा डेटा आएगा उस डेटा को न्यूमेरिक ही होना चाहिए. कैन आई से लाइक दैट? यस. मुझे उसे स्ट्रिंग में नहीं कन्वर्ट करना है. तो आई एम पुटिंग वन कंडीशन. So when I'm putting a condition, you can put a bound condition. Okay, got it. Shall I take one more example and then we can go ahead to the next concept, exception. With the two generic type parameters. All right. So let us say I'm creating a class test. I'm passing some generic type parameters, but here I'm passing t comma u. Till this point, you were passing only one generic parameter. Now I'm passing one more generic type parameter, which is u. So in this case, how did you recognize? Because it is separated by comma, right? Let us say I'll write t n1 and u as n2, where I'll write a constructor, the test constructor, who can take t of n1 and u maybe n2. This dot n1 is equal to n1. This dot n2 is equal to n2. Are we okay with the constructor? Right. Next, I'll go for a print method. In this case, I'm just trying to print this n1 is equal to, maybe I'll say this dot n1, and I'll say system.out.println n2 is equal to this dot n2. Right. Here in this case, when I'll create the object of maybe test, t1 is equal to new test, and I'm passing 10, 5. Quickly tell me, t1 is of which type? T1 object is of which type? Have I used the words many times? Are you guys awake? Yes or no? Are you guys awake? ठीक है. So I'll say t1 dot print. Is it working fine for us? Let's check. Yes, of course. ठीक? Perfect. I'll try to write this on one statement so that you will be able to see the output correctly. Is it working fine? All right. Next, I'm saying test t2, but I'm here explicitly passing integer, comma, integer. And I'm saying t2 over here is equal to new, again, this one. And inside the bracket, I'll pass 25 and 55. t2 dot print. Is it working fine? Right. So the first parameter that I've passed is of type integer. Second parameter also I've passed as integer. Next, someone will say, I want to pass integer and float. So I'll say t1, t2, and let us say t3. Here also, you should write float 55, or I'll just change the data 15 and maybe 2.5. I'll say t3 dot print. Someone will say, I want to pass both the values as float. So maybe I'll pass here float. Maybe I'll give here t4 and I'll say float, and I'll pass some data as float. And this I'll say t4 dot print. Someone will say, I want to go for string data. So I'll say string. Maybe I want string and integer combination. So the way you are writing over here should be similar on the right hand side too. So I'll say t5 and I shall pass here string and integer. So I'm passing string and some integer value. So I'll just say t5 dot print. I'll execute. Is it working for all the values? Yes or no? Correct. So have you all understood up to this point? Perfect. Any questions so far? I'll wait over here. If you have any questions, please do ask. So can you observe just with the half line of a code, you you are saved by writing different type of constructor, different type of methods, and your job is done. अदरवाइज आपको पता है ना कि कंस्ट्रक्टर में भी सीक्वेंस सेम मेंटेन करना पड़ता है. तो अगर मैं इंटीजर इंटीजर बोलती हूँ तो मुझे इंटीजर इंटीजर का कंस्ट्रक्टर चाहिए. अगेन इफ आई एम सेइंग इंटीजर एंड फ्लोट तो आई नीड सेकंड कंस्ट्रक्टर, थर्ड कंस्ट्रक्टर, फोर्थ कंस्ट्रक्टर. Have it saved my life of writing the code repetitively? Of course, yes. And that's what is the use of generics. Are we okay? Perfect. Now, is the code is in front of you, the complete code, right? Suppose here I'm writing extends number. Correct? Can you please quickly tell me on which line it is giving me error? On line number 33. Why? Because it is expecting integer over here or any number over here, but you have passed string. Next, suppose I'm saying extends number here also. Can you please tell me where it will give me error? On line number 33 again, because rest all extends number. कुछ समझ में आया? Which error I am getting over here? It's a bound mismatch. So yes, if you want to pass some, you can say bound, you can put a bound. If you want to just pass those parameters, it is considered as generics. I hope you all have understood up to this point. Generics, you will understand, you will have more number of examples in collection. Without generics, you cannot ever go for topic called as collection. All right. I'll wait over here so that I have explained generic programming. And if you can observe the same examples I have mentioned into the slides, and I have given you the meaning of raw type. I've given you what is the meaning of type parameters. We have put some bound, which is extends a number. So if you want to put some restriction on data type, you can use a bound parameter. That's what I have explained. Sometimes in generics, there is something called as wildcard. I'll talk about it. But before that, quickly go through the code. If any queries are there, then I'll just first resolve those. I'm waiting. You all have understood, then I will proceed. Are you fine at your end, or shall we proceed? Done. Shall we go ahead? I need confirmation from your side whether you are trying or whether you are there on your desk too. Perfect. So let us go ahead. So in case of generics, you have some more variations. Let me just introduce those. So there is something called as wildcard, which is called as question mark. There are three things: unbound wildcard, upper bound wildcard, and lower bound wildcards. So wildcard represent unknown type. Unknown type means मेरे पास कौन से टाइप का डेटा आने वाला है as a type parameter. I'm initially not aware about it. That is why I'll put a question mark over here. So there are three things: unbounded, upper bound, and lower bound. Let us observe. This unbounded wildcard, can you see here there is array list. Right now I've not taught about array list, so just keep it pending, don't worry. But at least can you see there is angular bracket and question mark? Right. जब भी आप angular bracket में t pass करते हो, it is type parameter. But when you say angular bracket and question mark, it means you do not know what type of array list you are going to get. Let us say, if you are writing question mark and extends something, in that case, we say it's an upper bound wildcard. I'll give you basic theoretical example because I cannot prove it right now. The reason you do not know the array list. Let us assume I'm saying I've created one array. Sorry, I've created different arrays. One is of type integer. Maybe I'll write like this. Second, I'm saying float. Third, I'm saying maybe double. And fourth, I'm saying string. Correct? Now, I want to display array. Correct? So when I say I want to display array, can I say the logic for displaying the array will be exactly same for all the types of arrays? Yes or no? For example, I'll say for each integer I in my array, I array. And you will go for this. Again, for each integer of type float in my F array. Again, the logic will be same and so on. But can I say till the time I do not get an array, till the time I will not give a call to display array, will the function will be executed? No. So what I want to point out over here is, at the initial moment, I am not aware what this display array is going to display for me. In this scenario, I will not pass type parameter t, I'll just say question mark. If my array is coming as integer, I'll consider this question mark as integer. If my array is coming as float, I'll consider this as float. If I consider double is also considered. If I go for string, I'll go for a string. So at runtime, I am taking a decision which type of array I want to go for. In that case, I will go for only question mark. So every type of array will be accepted over here. This is called as wildcard bound condition. One more time. I'm saying display array and I'm saying question mark extends number. When I say extends number, this is called as extends IR, that is called as upper bound wildcard condition. So what is upper bound wildcard condition? Whenever I'm getting any type of a type parameter, it should extend from number, but I do not know at runtime मुझे क्या data आने वाला है. In that case, instead of t, I will write a question mark. See this. Instead of t, we have written a question mark extends number. On the similar lines, let us assume I'm saying I want to display arrays. But here I'm putting question mark. I'm using a keyword super and I'm saying integer. Means मुझे numbers ही चाहिए, लेकिन मुझे numbers में भी whole numbers चाहिए. Float नहीं चलेगा, double नहीं चलेगा. Means ऐसे numbers जिनका super class सिर्फ integer होना चाहिए, उसे हम बोलते हैं lower bound wildcard condition. Have you all got what is the meaning of question mark? Extends means it is upper bound and super is lower bound. All good up to this point. Good. Shall we go ahead? So these three things you will again understand in case of collection, right? We have already talked about generic methods, and few things I have also mentioned. We cannot instantiate generic type with primitive types. It always takes non-primitive. You cannot declare static fields in generic. You cannot use casting or instance of its generics. You cannot use array of parameterized types of generics. You cannot use try, catch, and throw. That's our exception handling in case of parameterized type. So few restrictions that you have in generics. But yes, if you know a repetitive code is there in your program, you can always go for generics. Did you all get everyone? Yes, you can say T and T extends number kaho या फिर question mark extends number करो. Initially they are going to be same. But when I'm saying this record, I'm going to call at runtime. Initially I'm not aware कि मेरा list कौन से type का है. मेरा array ही मुझे नहीं पता है कौन से type का है, तो मैं उसे print कैसे करूंगी? In those scenarios, we will use question mark. Array list में I will come to this example once again. Don't worry. Why I've kept these slides together? Because when you will finish your Java, you will have all the things together in one slide. That's why. But as I always say, few things in Java are interlinked, which cannot be understood with a prior knowledge. Okay? Good. So, shall we go ahead? Or you want to look into the code? Wait. Okay, I'll wait for a minute. Collection is ready-made data structure classes. Is it okay? All right. Let me go ahead to the next introduction of the topic, which is exception handling. So maybe by tomorrow, we will complete exception handling, and I'll try to give you introduction about collection. And from Monday, we will see collections, right? So let us talk about the need of exception handling. Perfect. So before proceeding ahead with this topic, do you know what do you mean by exception? No. All right. So, are you guys there? Are you able to listen to me? Right. Because I'm not getting the answers into the chat box. All right. Good. So, in between from Monday, I will just let you know to start your videos so that I can see you that you are awake. And other people can also see you that you guys are awake in a proper posture. At any random point of time, I'll ask you to start the videos otherwise. Right? Are you guys here to learn something, right? To gain something, right? So you should be awake. Perfect. Next point. Let us come to this point. Suppose I'm having some form, correct? And in that form, I have some fields, name, maybe age, and mobile number, alternate number, and email. Assume I have this form to be filled by some of the users, correct? And assume there is a user 1, and let us say there is a user 2. Let us say there is user 3, correct? And in my program, I have put a condition कि मोबाइल नंबर में मैक्सिमम 2 + 10 ऐसे डिजिट्स होने चाहिए. 2 is for country code एंड 10 इज 12 डिजिट्स होने चाहिए। नेक्स्ट, मैंने ये भी कंडीशन मेंशन किया है कि इफ यू आर बेसिकली यू कैन से filling this form, you should fill all the fields. So all the fields are compulsory. ठीक है? Now, let us consider the user 1 is the one who have read all the terms and conditions, and user 1 have inserted all the, you can say, fields correctly. And there is something called as a submit button. Correct? So when the user 1 is trying to click on this submit button, definitely the user 1 will be able to log in, let us say, successfully, right? Let us understand. Let's talk about the next user. Suppose user 2 have filled all the details, but user 2 is trying to fill mobile number whose length is exceeding that particular array length. So in this case, can I say here when the user 2 will submit this, maybe array length से अगर exceed data हो गया तो कौन सा exception आता है? कौन सा exception आता है? Array index out of bound exception. Do you remember? या फिर there is something called a string index out of bound exception. Right? Perfect. So user 2 will receive array index out of bound exception. Correct? Next, let us say there is a user 3. And what the user 3 is doing, let us assume user 3 have put name correctly. User 3 have put age in the data which is in the form of string. Mobile number and entered correctly, and this is correctly, this is also correctly. बट अगर मेरा एज में मैंने मेथड यूज किया है sc.nextInt, तो अगर आपको याद है तो यहाँ पे will that person will receive number format exception? Do you remember? Yes or no? Right. Now suppose there is user 4 and user 4 have entered some random field and have not entered any of the field. Assume उसने कोई भी field ही नहीं insert किया, सिर्फ email insert किया. Can I say these fields will go null and maybe at some point of time this user may receive null pointer exception? Correct? Do you all agree? Right. But at this moment, if I consider there are, and these all 4 users are friends, I'm just assuming. So there's user 1, there is user 2, there is user 3, there is user 4. And if they communicate with each other, and suppose there is user 5 who is coming as the next person. So what will be the first perspective of user 2? User 2 will tell to the user 5, do not use this application. It is always giving me some kind of exception. Do you understand the human nature? Right? Similarly, when the user 3 will come, user 3 will say, do not use this application because it is giving me some kind of a number format exception or null pointer exception and so on. Only the one user will tell, oh, you can use it. It worked fine for me. That means, can I say at this moment, user 2, user 3 and user 4, they all are receiving some kind of exception when they are executing the application. Correct? Right. But why they are getting the exception? Why they are getting the exception? Because these users have supplied a wrong input. That means the mistake is not from the developer side. Mistake is from the user side only. But we human beings never try to accept the mistakes very fast. So what we can say? We say that if user gives or if user supplies wrong input to the application, then application gets crashed and it throws different exceptions. So what is exception? Exception is a condition that occurs in the program when user enters wrong input normally. Have you understood what is exception now? Everyone. So what is exception? It's a condition which generally occurs in your program when the user is supplying wrong input to us. Correct? Now, please listen very carefully. I'm just coming to the exception. I'm not talking about the error. I've just said exception. Do not, you can say directly come to the comparison part. Have I covered the topic error? No. So please stick to the topic. Exception is a condition that occurs in the program when the user enters the wrong input. Perfect. Now, if the user is inserting the wrong input, अब आप मुझे बताइए जब आप डे 1 पे आए थे जावा में, were you all aware about number format exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bound exception, string index? No, you were not aware, right? The reason is you were not aware about Java. Right now, you all are Java developers. So can I say, if you are a Java language program developers, you know how to handle this. And you know, if somewhere I might have given some wrong string data, might have given some wrong input as a number, might have not supplied any values. That's why I'm getting the exceptions. But can I say, when the application which is being used by me, are they going to be the Java developers only? Again, no. कोई भी end user customer हो सकता है जिसे Java बिल्कुल भी नहीं आता है. That can be the possibility, right? So, what is the solution to it? The solution is, we know I have an exception. There may be the exception. I have developed this application. तो मुझे पता है कि नेम में यूजर न्यूमेरिक डेटा डाल सकता है, एज में यूजर टेक्स्ट डेटा डाल सकता है, मोबाइल में यूजर मोर देन 12 डिजिट्स भी दे सकता है, ऑल्टरनेट नंबर किसी किसी के पास हो भी नहीं सकता है, या फिर ईमेल किसी के पास ऑल्टरनेट ईमेल या ईमेल आईडी करेक्ट नहीं है या एक्टिवेटेड नहीं है. तो कैन आई से इन दिस पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन there might be different number of problems that may occur when the user is giving some input? Yes. And I am able to analyze those problems. As a developer, I have to think about all the possible scenarios. So here, if I know that because of this wrong input, my application is going to terminate. Because of the wrong input, my application is going to throw the exception. I will handle that exception. So, I'll say, what is exception handling? It is basically writing a code in such a way that my application terminates gracefully. And who writes the application? We are the developers. We will write the application. So, how it is done, we will see that. But suppose, now, अगर user 2 की बात करते हैं, user 2 have supplied wrong mobile number. Instead of me giving the exception array index out of bound, if I tell to the user as a pop-up box, please enter correct mobile number, will that user will be satisfied? Of course, yes. Correct? At least that person will try to put a mobile number correctly. Next, user number 3. If the user have supplied age, उसका application submit नहीं होगा, right? But at least if I give a pop-up message or a proper message to the user 3, age is not entered correctly. Will that user will try to enter the data correctly? At least he will try. Same is the case for user 4. If I just send null pointer exception, that person will say, no, I don't understand it. But if I just say a proper message to the user 4 that yes, you are getting this error because you have not supplied, some of the fields are missing. So please enter these fields like age, mobile, and so on. Then can I say in this case, user 4 will also try at least some time, right? So it means, what is exception handling? Exception handling means in my program, I'll write my code in such a way that if the exception have occurred, my application will not terminate in a random fashion. My application will terminate, but in a graceful way. क्योंकि जब मैं किसी यूजर को ऐसे टेक्निकल टर्म्स देके एक्सेप्शन थ्रो करूंगी, no one will understand, and it is just like harsh treatment with the user, and I may lose the customers. And that's the reason, if I want to terminate my application gracefully, then I'll go for something called as exception handling. कुछ समझ में आया? What is the need of exception handling? Everyone, I'll just say this, need of exception handling. So exception handling is done by the developers, right? Exception handling is done while developing the programs. Means as a developer, I'd have to think about कि मुझे कहाँ पे exception आ सकता है, उसके align में I have to write a code. So I am trying to avoid the exception condition. Correct? Now, let us come to the point. What is then error? If I'm saying error, it is having two types. One is compile time, another is runtime. In the case of errors, compile time errors, because आपने syntax wrong लिखा, आपने प्रोग्राम में कुछ सेमीकोलन नहीं दिया, आपने wrong keywords यूज किए, स्कोप wrong दिया, डेटा टाइप एंड वेरिएबल का डिक्लेरेशन प्रॉपर नहीं किया, if statement यूज किया, syntax follow नहीं किया. So all the syntactical corrections that are there while developing the code is called as compile time error. Wrong typecasting, wrong conversion, and wrong assignment, missing of semicolon, missing of codes, using of wrong data types, spelling mistakes in the keywords, spelling mistakes in the class names, and so on. All these are checked at compile time. If you do not follow it, that is called as compile time error. So when you run the application, when you try to compile the application, the errors that occur during the compilation phase, those are called as compile time error. Is it okay, everyone? Correct. In this scenario, can I say कंपाइल जब तक सक्सेसफुल कंपाइलेशन नहीं होगा तब तक मेरा कोड एग्जीक्यूट होगा क्या? नहीं. अगर कोड ही एग्जीक्यूट नहीं होगा तो एक्सेप्शन कभी आएगा क्या? नहीं आएगा. आर यू गेटिंग? एक्सेप्शंस अकर ड्यूरिंग रन टाइम बट दे कैन बी हैंडल्ड. Perfect. Next point. Suppose I have written a code. I am trying to perform addition of two numbers. But मैंने गलती से प्लस की जगह पे माइनस साइन दे दिया. Is it a logical error? Of course, yes. Suppose, and that error occurs during the runtime. So that is the runtime error occurs. The first reason is maybe there is a logical error into the program. When you are writing wrong logic in the program, at that moment, runtime error occurs. Point number 2, you have written a function. You are giving a call to the function and you have not supplied, you are giving a call to the function within the function body. I'm talking about recursion. When you say recursion call and you have not supplied any terminating condition, तो क्या मेरे प्रोग्राम में स्टैक मेमोरी बढ़ता जाएगा? Yes. Will it give stack overflow error? Yes. Do you have a control on that error? No. Right? And that's runtime error. Is it okay? Perfect. Next point. When you say exceptions, it means some condition that is occurring in your program. I can handle the exception in my program by writing the line of code. But when you say error, errors cannot be handled at runtime. So for example, if your hard disk got crashed, if your RAM got crashed, is it an error? Yes. If there is any system error, that's also an error. That comes under your error category. So can I say, I'm saying I have got an application जिसे कम से कम 100 MB or 200 MB space चाहिए, correct? And in your system, you do not have 200 MB of space. तो क्या मैं प्रोग्राम लिख के आपके सिस्टम का मेमोरी बढ़ा सकती हूँ क्या? Is it possible? Obviously no. Are you getting? What does it mean? Errors cannot be resolved programmatically. Exceptions can be resolved, can be handled programmatically. So did you all get the difference between exception and the error? Are we okay? So the one who have asked me the difference, I've mentioned it clearly. Correct? Now, in Java, you have 5 keywords for handling the exception. Try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. Tomorrow we will see all these in detail. But before that, let me go to the exception handling. There are many resources. If the resource do not get closed into your system, then also there will be an exception. So what is exception handling? To handle runtime errors at a single place. It helps the developer to reduce the maintenance. The reason is अगर मैंने exception handling implement किया है तो definitely जितनी बार भी users input supply करेंगे they will think and then they will put it. There are 5 keywords: try, catch, throw, throws, and finally. In Java, there is a class throwable. Let me go to java.lang, right? And there is a class which is called as throwable. Its superclass is object. I hope you are able to understand this, everyone. Public class throwable extends object. Correct? It is having one interface which is implemented. Can you observe direct known subclasses? One is error, another is exception. Please understand, in Java, exception is the supermost class of all the types of exceptions. If you say number format exception, superclass is exception. Array index out of bound exception, superclass is exception. String index out of bound exception, superclass is exception. You can check later on. Null pointer exception, superclass exception. What I mean to say, जितने भी आपके जावा में exceptions है, उन सब का superclass exception है. So read this. Throwable is a superclass of all the errors and exceptions in Java language. Right? Now, it is thrown by Java Virtual Machine. I'll show you all the points tomorrow with the help of example. Before that, are you able to understand this hierarchy? Throwable का superclass object है. Throwable के two subclasses error and exception है. Exception के अंदर बहुत सारे categories है. Right now, I've written runtime exception. Correct? Read this. Exception, the class exception and its subclass are the form throwable. It indicates conditions that the application might want to catch. There are two types. I'll talk about checked and unchecked tomorrow. There is something called as error. It's also a class who's extending throwable. But please read this. Error is a subclass of throwable which indicates serious problem that the application should not try to catch. It means most of the abnormal conditions that may occur in your program which you cannot handle by the programs, then that is called as error, right? So we cannot handle the errors, we can handle the exception by writing line of code. So how to write line of codes for exception handling? What keywords are used? When to use which keyword? How to use these keywords? And what is the exception handling flow? What is checked versus unchecked exception? Everything we will see in tomorrow's class. Today, I just wanted to introduce what is throwable class, what is exception, and what is error. We cannot recover from error, so that's why we should not use trying and catching, means handling the error during the program, right? I'll keep the slides with you, but still there are points which are remaining. Tomorrow, complete day, we will see exception handling, right? So with this, I'll stop here. If you have any queries, please do ask. Thank you.